and his better half Dolores used to be mantelpieces down at the Black Forest. And I don't know if that bar still exists, but when it did, so did they. A couple bleeding heart kids, everything volatile, every night vodka style. Hop a stool, be discreet and just watch a while, but do your best to keep the level observational. Drama is attractive, so push it when it takes a pull. And each night's a random when you paid a ransom for the right to sing along with them drinking anthems. And these fools paid so many dues that everybody stops to salute. Well, one night after another fight, a couple from an opposite table offered an invite. Dolores didn't want to join them, wasn't feeling social, but Eddie was so aggravated that he had to poke holes. He walked over, sat in the dialogue, and called at Dolores like some kind of dog. She can't believe it, she's done, she's had it, but she doesn't want to make another scene in this establishment. She got up and moseyed over and put her arm up around Eddie's shoulder. Nobody's sober, the song is the same. Sometimes you stick out your chin to catch the rain. You could be a winner, you could be a loser. Gotta wake up when you hear the rooster. Sometimes it's just too simple to live your life wrong. Gotta do right for you when the time comes. You could be a winner, you could be a loser. Gotta wake up when you hear the rooster. Sometimes it's just too simple to live your life wrong. Gotta do right for you when the time comes. The clock keeps drinking, they keep ticking. There's two more people who get to play positions. Samantha and Chuck, not a couple, just roommates. Out having too many shots on a Tuesday. Who knew they'd be tools for the duo? Put a little bit of fire on the fuel. It's a kind of blue, intentions ain't cruel, but everybody's so ready to bend up the rules. Now there's Chuck staring at Dolores. Eddie is distracted by Samantha, so he doesn't notice. And everybody's too fucked up to even assess the mess, much less care enough. More whiskey, a pitcher of premium. Eddie's getting tipsy. He didn't see it coming on his way back from a visit with that urinal. Trying to straighten out his thoughts and the vertigo. Weaves through, stops when he's seen him. Picture perfect, it looked just like freedom. Dolores on Chuck's lap, kissing him hard. Eddie dipped into the winter, left them all at the bar. Sometimes you gotta follow what's felt inside, between the power struggles and selfish pride. No one's allowed to cry unfair, because now they both get to drink alone somewhere. You could be a winner, you could be a loser. Gotta wake up when you hear the rooster. Sometimes it's just too simple to live your life wrong. Gotta do right for you when the time comes. You could be a winner, you could be a loser. Gotta wake up when you hear the rooster. Sometimes it's just too simple to live your life wrong. Gotta do right for you when the time comes. You could be a winner, you could be a loser. Gotta wake up when you hear the rooster. Sometimes it's just too simple to live your life wrong. Gotta do right for you when the time comes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sort of Chaos podcast. I'm your host, Ginger. Oh, don't swear in the first 2 minutes. I'm your host, Cosmin. What's up, Vlad? What's up, everybody? That movie was called, the movie I showed you while the music was playing is called The King of Staten Island. It features all Billy Red Tits, Bill Burr, in a secondary role, which I really enjoyed. It's probably one of his most, the role that puts him out of his comfort zone the much, in the sense that he also has to do like emotional shit, whereas he was he's still playing himself, you know what I mean, like his like usual self, but he has like, the story is about this kid's this comedian dude, what's his name? Pete Davidson, right? You might know him from SNL. He's a writer there and an actor, and many other productions. He does stand up, of course, and it's basically based on his life. His dad was a fireman and died at 9/11, responding to the chaos, right? And this is based on him, where it's basically a comedy drama that. Basically their family stood still until he was 7 when his dad died, and then at a certain point, his mom, after like 15 years or something, starts seeing another man, and they just realize how much that man is Bill Burr, right? And they just realize how much time kind of stood still since their dad died for both of them, and their sister. And it's a very fascinating movie. I definitely recommend it. I've seen it with my girl. She seemed to enjoy it. Well, obviously, she's a Bill Burr fan too. But even if it wasn't, it's a pretty good movie, so I recommend you guys see it. What's going on, people? What's going on? Times are crazy. I keep seeing these arguments. That's why I called it. I never know what to call it because I talk about multiple things. But I try to call it whatever my ideas of going into this podcast kind of like coagulate towards. And today I'm going to start with this equality and tradition argument. Marius says, "Holy fuck! I just seen that movie today. Yeah, it's a dope ass movie." I liked it. I keep seeing this fucking argument like you either we can have both. It can be equality and tradition. It can't be, dude. I think either we like to admit it or not, we have to make a choice between, because tradition, what is tradition? Tradition is some good familiar things, the way your particular pool of society where you grew up in, the way it defined its rights and wrongs through different sorts of it sounds redundant, but traditions, right? Different sorts of ways they handle death, they handle relationships with one another, and kind of establishing the hierarchy through stories, through history, through all that jazz, right? And it's definitely important to keep track of the past, but also it's important. Definitely is one of the more important things, but it's also kind of, we're not taught to distinguish between like what's good and what's bad from tradition, right? I'll give you an example. My dad died 2 years ago, and in the weekend now, me and my girl took off to my hometown, Constanza, to join my mom to make what we call pomana. Like every 2 years, you kind of make like a meal that you offer to. And my mom decided to. I'm sorry. Every year. Well, some people do it just after the person dies. They do it a few recent ones up until a year, and then sometimes they don't do anymore. Or maybe they do it every few years, whatever the hell. My mom, loved my dad, and she wants her soul to be clean. And we went to this church that also had another building attached to it, which also belonged to the church. And the priest at this church is a person that I know since I was a kid, and he's a good man, as far as I can tell. And he did great things for these Romanian kids. Like, I'm talking about kids without privileges, and they were either into, like, they had access to everything, and they offered a place to stay in the big city, and an education. And they were promising kids. One of them was studying, what was it, baby? Was it? Yeah, medicine. Some dude was into sports, very good, I think, right? Like, all these, so it was very nice. Like I broke bread with them and talked about how they got there a little bit. Not like, I asked the priest how he managed to achieve all this, and amongst saying all these good things, he made this nice speech. Like, yes, we did our best, and with the help of the community, we gave these kids a future. And we did this and we did that, and in the end, he kind of like just kind of like pushed it in there, because it's good to build and help our community, and maybe and keep our traditions. He will use this word, right? And not mix races, but he didn't say it like that. Like, keep to your own, and like, so this is I couldn't. Like, I I couldn't let it go. And like I told you guys a few episodes ago, or maybe last episode, sometimes you got to stand up to people in public, just because, as far as those kids at that table were concerned, if I approve this man and just let that slide, that's how you kind of perpetuate little racist thing. And I don't believe he's a man who, like, a gypsy or a black person. I kind of know the person. I don't think it's just the way it was taught to them. Like, keep to your own and all this shit. And I commented. I say, come on. I always say it as a matter of fact. I try not to offend unless the other person is directly offensive. Then I look into his eyes and say what the fuck I have to say. But it being like, I know this man and he did all this work for this kids. I just say, like, hey, father, like, if you cut a black person, he bleeds red too, right? So we're all equal in front of God, or something like that. Like, I'm not a religious person, but I understand. I told you guys, I understand why he brings peace to people. I said this. It was was it an awkward moment, baby? I think it kind of like, maybe just a tiny, like, all the people kind of like didn't talk for a second. Then we continued, and he was like, yes, of course. You know what I mean? And since then, I can't stop thinking about, like, tradition versus equality, and in all sorts of domains. I'm talking racism, sexism, all of that shit, right? I think at a point you have to make a choice between globalization and giving away all your information. You're already giving it away through TikTok or whatever, which is owned by the Chinese. Not that the other American companies or whoever else has your best interest too, but either you head towards that and you kind of make it more of an even ground, and you upheld society no matter where you are in the world to the kind of the same standards. You know what I mean? So that's part of the globalization. It's a good part of the globalization, because you get to break normalized things like she's a she's a woman. He's a guy. You break all this shit through information and trying, but it comes with a huge downside of losing whatever the fuck tradition you had. You know what I mean? And I know I thought about myself at a personal level. Like, what do I really, really hold up as tradition as a Romanian? I know I'm not the best one to speak, but it was it's just that you can't have both, I think, because at a certain point, if tradition teaches you through a saying or through some shit to do something, then when you discover through information and globalization a better way, a more succinct, a more easy way of doing it, or a way where it makes more sense the way it's explained or something, then you're gonna remember that, because it connected your thoughts together the best, right? So you forget. And what else is traditions? When I think about myself being hit with tradition, I'm hit with weddings, which who gives a fuck as far as I'm concerned. But I want my girl to, like, if she wants that, and it's important, I guess, if you want to show the world and whatever the fuck. I'm down for it if it will make my girl happy, because she makes sacrifices for me or whatever the fuck, right? I want her to be happy when the time comes. But if you conceptualize it, it looks it's so primitive, right? Like, this is my woman, and boom, 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 and this is your ring. See, fuck her, she has a ring. Don't fucking look at her, or whatever, right? There's a little bit of that in tradition. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's beautiful, but other times it perpetuates, like, stupid little shit and it's just under the surface. You know what I mean? Under the surface. Your uncle in the corner, he makes kind of a little racist jokes. People kind of laugh, but they let it pass. But you know what I mean? Weddings. Funerals, the same. The weirdest fucking thing. I keep getting hit with funerals of family and my friends' fucking parents and relatives dying. Especially when it's like a difficult, like a death thing, where you kind of like step back into your own head and you kind of like assess life and shit. It looks so primitive. I still do it. Like, I went to one of my close friends. His dad passed away, and I knew the man. He welcomed me into my house. He died on the same day my dad died, on the 9th of June. Only, last week, and I went to this funeral, and besides all the things you're supposed to do, I still took like a piece of dirt and threw it on the casket. So I'm sure that's more universal, but you guys get my drift. It's so primitive. Like, see, we are back. I think those are important too. You can wipe them, but it's so hard to distinguish. You know what I mean, between the good parts of tradition and the bad parts, especially for people who are already indoctrinated to think they're the best, or kids who don't know any better and they just take it at face value. So tradition in any country, it's important, especially important to know who the people who you coexist with are in terms of your nation or whatever the fuck. But at a certain point, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of I know a lot of Muslim. I have a lot of friends who I went to school with, and educated Muslims. You know what I mean? Like, of the Muslim religion, but just cool dudes. And I would like their input on this. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that culture is even more like, we know this, right? This is not, let's not pretend, right? Especially towards women and all that shit, and yet they can go to school and coexist. And I bet I'm wondering how they feel for their relatives, and how much they perpetuate that just to not make your parents feel bad or whatever, right? Because let's face it, people, if both your parents would have been dead by that time, there's a high chance you would have done porn. Like a small percentage of views. You know what I mean? And I feel the same way. Not particularly that I would have done porn, but I feel like if I would lose my mom too, and especially if I would have lost both of them at an earlier age, like 27, let the fucking world burn. You know what I mean? What does it matter anyway? So I don't know what the fuck I'm going with this, but I don't think they can coexist. I saw now that, because where do you draw the line? I saw now that they canceled, not they canceled, they pull out, what's that movie called, Baby, that they just deleted? From everywhere. It's like this old movie, Gone with the Wind, I think. Pari Pile Vuntului. Hold on, I might be mistaken. I have it in my print screens. Give me a sec. Let me set this bitch up. Oh shit. Yeah, so they outlawed that because although it didn't have anything to do with the story, there was a black woman there and acting like she was an actress. I think she was the first black actress to ever get like a major Hollywood movie or something like that. I might. But anyway, that she was portrayed, and then they deleted that because it perpetuates things like racism and all this shit. And I don't know where I stand on that. I would think in this rhythm, if we don't know what the monsters we are and what we're capable of as humans, then we're bound to repeat the mistakes. This is simple, yes, right? The mistakes of our past. So when you see a movie like that, does it glamorize being, black people being slaves or whatever? I don't think that was the point of the movie. So it's it's awkward to watch, but good. Then it should be allowed to be. It's part of history. It doesn't directly promote racism, right? It's part of history. When the Me Too movement came to place, everybody jumped on Louis C.K.'s fucking head like, don't listen to his stand-ups anymore. How about get the fuck out of my face? Right? Because if that would have been the case, dude, telling you from experience and not only, right? Like, most directors are perverts or whatever, actors, all that world. They have to access their demons to make something that you can lose yourself in, right? And all these people, I believe, to a more or less extent, they're perverts. Some of them are functionally perverts, and their perversions might be, normal or within the normal realm. I was gonna say, I need some water. So, what about Woody Allen movies? Every fucking person who's of a sensitive side, like girls or even some men, like they're Woody Allen fans, right? They love all those movies. They're charming. They're, in Paris and whatever the fuck, and it's about love. Same fucking women say cancel Louis C.K. I'm like, that Woody Allen, didn't Woody Allen fucking like marry a, let me not eat shit. Woody Allen marries his stepdaughter, but not about stepdaughter. It's just, I think he married the girl that was his stepdaughter when she was like, I don't know. Like it's fucked up, isn't it fucked up? But so Roman Polanski, I think the question is it the daughter of an actress? Yeah, right. So why don't cancel? So you can't cancel everything. Anything that has to do with art, you have to separate. Like you can separate the religious people, right? Because a lot of them are the ones who are jumping now. As long as that person didn't do anything, and even if they did, you can't argue with instinct. It's like you're a man and you see big tits. You're like, can't not watch. You can help yourself to not watch. Doesn't matter. It isn't in your realm of attention. You know what I mean? Or whatever you're into. It's instinct. So if it's a good piece of art, it will attract. So should we delete all art in all forms, music made by, I don't know, also all sorts of people on the fringe, shows, all movies, right? What are we supposed to keep? The ones who portrayed people as being perfect and deny our shitty past. You don't have to be proud of it. You should be able to see Gone with the Wind on your fucking TV with your kid and be like, why is that black lady acting like that? It's like, because there was some fucked up times, son. And there was times when man thought other men should be in their servitude. You know what I mean? Like their property. Well, why is that wrong? That because he bleeds like I do, son. Right? And you get that chance to explain that fucking thing. Can't delete everything, dog, because I guarantee, like, 80% of whatever is considered art, even from the like ancient art. What do you think? Like all the artists that you find all these relics from, I think they were like these open-minded, like they might have been open-minded, Michelangelo or whatever. That doesn't mean they didn't slap a woman or whatever the fuck. You don't know them. Clearly there were other times back then, right? So you gotta find meaning in the art and separate the artiste from the art, right? Not delete the art that's depicting what our past was. I don't know. I just find it fucked up because people, like a politician, people repeat it. We should keep tradition and then we should keep equality, but nobody addresses the finer things. Nobody. Like too little people, too few people address how easy that is to say, but how hard it is in actuality to glue all these nations within under a banner of equality and then try to push away what some fucked up thing they were taught by tradition, right? All right. Let's see what you guys have to say on this subject. Let's see. We'll get into the print screens too. Vlad keeping us updated with his battery level. Don't care that much, buddy. Forget it fixed. Ada says, funeral traditions in Romania deserve a comedy documentary sort of movie from the perspective of a foreigner. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, they do. But that would have to be directed. You know what I mean? It would have to be, because can't just bust into, oh, your dad died? I want to make this like art, dude. It will make foreigners understand like this. Get fuck out of my face, dude. My dad died. Get out of here. So you have to like make it. It has to be a play. It has to be a movie, right? It has to be with actors. But it is. I would love to do it. I would love to have the budget to kind of like having perspectives in both worlds, right? I would like to present like to an American what the fuck's going on at a Romanian funeral. I bet they would find that thing at least fascinating, but also, you know, with all it that is implied and why things happen, not just kind of show it like a freak show. It's fascinating. They should make that. I found Marius says I found it funny uh, how every Romanian chick on Facebook became a Black Lives Matter activist, given the fact when they see a gypsy. Yeah, I was talking about this years ago. Like see a gypsy on the street, they get scared because that's what they teach us. Hey, listen, there's a thing as such a thing as circumstances. They see a gypsy on the street in a gypsy neighborhood that the level of probably you can conclude that the level of education is low. Yeah, they should be scared. You shouldn't you shouldn't love black people universally either. You just have to realize you have it a bit better than them or a lot better than them depending where you are, because in Romania we don't have that sort of level of like institutionalized racism that you guys have in America, or at least apparent one. I don't know how much is it amplified by media, but yeah, then she should fucking be aware, right? If you cross the crosswalk, I made this point in like a frustration episode, right? If you cross the crosswalk, you should always make contact with the eyes of the driver, even if it is your right to cross that crosswalk, because he might be fucking with the radio, or he may be telling his kids to shut the fuck up, and then he blows you away on the crosswalk. So just because you have a right, that doesn't mean it will be upheld. So as ladies, yeah, they should be aware if they are in a gypsy neighborhood. But at the same time, if they're in school or whatever and they meet a gypsy colleague or even a gypsy person who's working and minding his own business, and then she says, ew, what the fuck, then that's racism, I think. There's nothing wrong with being self-aware of where you are and your safety, right? And it's a fact that being an under like gypsies in Romania, but black people are the same way in America, like being a society where they're like fucking hit at all, like under the water, under the level, under the surface, they're all like sabotaged in all these different ways. You should be aware that like, fuck, yes, they do have it harder. But beyond that point, you gotta see what the fuck. If you're an employee and you pay that based on, pay a different salaries, then you're racist again. You know what I mean? There's all these little finesse things. I don't agree with that. With shit, they see a gypsy, yeah. They see a gypsy. If in the neighborhood of the gypsies, they should be aware. Maybe zip up. Maybe realize the level of education that these people had access to in that particular spot where she is, maybe at night or whatever. And this is you not being empathic with women, Marius. I gotta give it this one. I gotta say on this one. Excuse me. Stefan Eftimia says the movie is not deleted. They are just going to put a message about slaves, racism, etc. But they're not going to change anything on the movie. Yeah, I read something of the similar. So they just pulled it out for a second, so maybe they can put a banner or something that people can read before. But it's bringing in too much money too. You know what I mean? Imagine how Gone with the Wind is like a staple of cinema. Anybody who's like young will rediscover this one way or another, even for a curiosity on some channel or whatever. Still bringing in millions and millions of dollars, and I'm gonna fucking cancel that, which is good. Like whatever the fuck, it's a piece of cinema. It shouldn't be something you're particularly proud about, but it is part of your history. So look at if it makes you uncomfortable enough, and if it makes enough people uncomfortable, then people won't watch it, and then it won't be so. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was not. Madu says I was not talking about that circumstance per se. I know what you were talking about. I was just trying to like play devil's advocate because there are cases and cases. Yeah, the girls who like, dude, even gypsies are racist. Even gypsies are racist. Like I literally heard this, right? I was on Lipscan for a client. I was trying, and they're American clients who come in Romania, and I handle seminars for them, and I shoot them nice and make them as packages, whatever. So I was on Lipscan in Bucharest, and this black dude from my seminary that I was shooting, right? He passes through, very cool dude, right? And then as he passes, he's past me, and these two gypsies go, look at that fucking, like, we call it like a crow in Romania for the English person that's watching, you know what I mean? That's like the N word in Romania. It's a crow, right? And he's like, look at this. Like he used the same word. It's used on him. Like look at this motherfucker. Like kind of, it wasn't like a curiosity look. It was kind of like, fuck this dude look. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dog? But that's the level of education. You know what I mean? Still funny though. Like, we're disprivileged, you know what I mean? But these motherfuckers, they're really low, you know what I mean? Like that gypsy at that point, like Romanians judge us, you know what I mean? And they see a piece of shit, and we're definitely, you know, unprivileged here. But this piece of shit, look at his way darker skin than mine. Like that's such a like a crazy thing. But that's the level of education. Even like people against people, like the same race. Some races are pulled themselves down. It's sad. It's sad. But we shouldn't, like I talked about last week in Romania about the law that we in Romania just voted that with the rape and everything that encourages it was fine if that law would have said clips that encourage rape. But no, they said clips that promote violence. And all the young kids, hipster bullshit kids in Romania, social media, they applauded and ate that shit up without even once asking themselves, what the fuck implication does this have for my future at expressing myself when I won't be following the party lines or whatever is correct, right? When it's my turn to be judged. Have I just given away my tools to defend myself in some sort of way? Right? I want to protest. Hey, cops are shooting bullets. Bring some sort of something to defend yourselves, because the government, you put it on social media now, they can come and arrest you. No, you don't have to say like, you know, bring guns yourself or whatever. We don't even have guns in Romania like the average citizen. It isn't legal. But now the government can interpret that any way they want. And even if it's comedy and taken out of context, people are in a hurry to, right? So it's so stupid. It's disgusting. When I see all these social media fucking vloggers and bloggers, most of them, you know, all these girls, influencers, and I'm like, you're just playing it to the fucking, I guess some of them are good kids. Most of them aren't, let's face it. Come on. Okay, so just every chick I ever talked to is a bit racist when talking about gypsies. Yeah, me too. I know, right? I know. But almost every. Like, I know girls who dated the gypsies. Just a normal, educated gypsy fellow. So not all girls. I guess it's just how exposed you are to that shit. And I think I talked about this before, but in some country, they kind of like, it's forced, but I found it interesting. I can't remember the context, but it was like in a country, they force, so if it's a square mile or a building, right, where they sit, I think it's Indonesia or some shit, or maybe Thailand, they force like the percentage of the population upon that block. So if it's 15% gypsies, if you make a new building, it has to have 15% gypsies as living there. So they make these small mixed communities that creates exposure. So that's enforced by law. So it's one of these countries that I bet it has a million other fucked up things, but the state imposes this because they have a very mixed population. And racism isn't, if you go back a few podcasts, you follow me, I mentioned the country too. And that's cool. It's about exposure, right? It's about that's why those girls get grossed out. Most of them they had bad encounters with that, but with gypsies, right? But I bet a lot of them will tell you they had bad encounters with Romanians too. Talking about educated versus not educated. People who don't have a fucking thing to lose versus people who were offered at least some sort of way to pursue and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And a lot of the times, these communities, they don't have such a thing. Black in America, fucking gypsy in Romania, and all that shit. Why I like that about that country is it forced you. It forced your kids. If you're living with 20% gypsies in your, but the next building, and they force that population percentage, then you're way more likely your kids to play together. And then it's normalized. You see, oh, fuck, that's Jimmy. He's a gypsy. He's cool. He's like me. You know what I mean? So it's not, then you can go past beyond that shit and just kind of be aware of where you're in danger. It's doable, I believe, but not the way these fuckers are trying to play us. I'll be honest with you. The last 2 times I voted, I voted for a lack of a better option, but I don't know if I ever voted. I'm 33. I don't know if I ever voted for a president that kind of inspires something in me. You know what I mean? And even then, it's like one man. What the fuck can he do if he battles all these like hidden strings? I don't know how the fuck you go into that. The same way, how I don't understand how you, especially today, and Joe Rogan had a podcast with Jocko. The last one he did last night, I think they were talking about this. They're talking about like who the fuck wants to be a policeman now. Yeah, I never understood who the fuck ever wanted to be a policeman in the first place. Like president, you're always gonna be hated. You know what I mean? And especially now, who the fuck will become like, who the fuck is 18 now in the U.S. and be like, I don't pursue the career of being an officer, and all these fucking like I'm a Romanian. My American friends, I have no horse in the game, but like defunding the police and the way you generalize this, saying all that out there, it's crazy. You have to fund the police to like, you should listen to that Joe Rogan podcast. But he's saying the same thing. You give them enough money so that they are trained in situations like this to approach them differently. I heard the dude saying like the average police officer in the U.S. gets 2 hours of hand-to-hand combat per year training. Per year. How the fuck are you supposed to incapacitate somebody? Because make no mistakes, these people risk their fucking lives. It's easy to be politically correct, but once the fucking, people's breaking into your house, you call the police and then you say, yes, sir, thank you, sir, right? Because somebody has to be there. So these people, like, you jumping on them, not all of them are bad, obviously. As in the same way as religion, it will that power will always attract a certain type of person, power hungry person. You think all these priests, they have the power. You infiltrate, they want to become priests for ulterior motives, and then they feed it on that shit. Same with cops. There's always gonna be, right? They're paid shitty and they risk their lives. People with not much in their future go to be hired as cops, and if you don't give them the training to incapacitate, to defend, to neutralize the situation, and some sort of like psychiatrist on site, like that, they get constant training of how to diffuse the situations. How these things need money. If you'd ask me, I would give money to create an alternative for the police, or at least. Joe Rogan was saying this, like, isn't it crazy that for any other fucking thing you have a plumber, you fucking pipe breaks have a plumber, you have whatever, there's all these little jobs, but when it comes to the police, you call them for all sorts of shit. You know what I mean? Somebody broke into my house, somebody hit me, somebody's fighting, the music won't shut the fuck up next door, and they have to, like, isn't this like a multi-tool person, like, so they should create departments where it's like a lesser crime report. Is there any violence report? No, sir. There's just fucking music. Okay, we'll send somebody. And there's this person trained more to like diffuse the situation. Or is it like, you know what I mean? Like They need training, dog. They need training and constant reevaluation of their psyche. Because if you fucking shoot and take a life, some people just brush that off and kind of rationalize it within the context of it could have been them or they're doing the right thing because they have that authority. But other people, they just left scarred and trigger happy. And you have to have like a psychiatrist. I'm talking about America now. We're so far from this in Romania. It's scary how far from it we are. I'm not even going to mention that. We'll talk tomorrow in the Romanian podcast. But yeah, in America, at least you guys kind of can cut some things and spread some funding. Like, do that. Less military bullshit where you invade and more funding into your own fucking people, man, so that your communities are safe and people are able to flourish. It's hard. So divisive everywhere. I can't understand people who can't tell the difference. But can't you just see like some comments and some posts just clearly put there, like inflammatory, put there to kind of create a reaction. And you have the know-how enough to kind of see through that shit, and you're like, it's full of this shit. Don't you have this feeling every day like people are being duped left and right, like they're stupid and they fall for whatever fucking incendiary thing? It all started with this competition that news and in the internet. The way we receive information, that's what's broken, and that's what creates this whirlwind of even more stress and chaos and revolt. It all started in 2010 when iPhones were becoming, and smartphones, because newspapers and legitimate media outlets realized they can't compete. So they dumped down their content to the level, like the smallest denominator of what can take your attention so they can get paid. So it started with that, and I think media created this division where even the smallest person that's clearly the minority can find enough, like 100 people, to make something that is not an issue a huge issue, and then upset 1,000 other people who, you know what I mean? That's the way it goes. It just gives trumpets to idiots sometimes. It's also upsides. Gives a voice to the unheard and the ones who can be protected. All these denunciations, not all of them are bad. I guess the overall image is that if we choose to live in this future society, we will have to obviously give up more of our freedoms for a little bit of what we perceive as safety. I don't know. Yeah, we go give it away so easily. Okay. I forgot to press record on my high quality recorder here. Fuck. Okay. Let's see what Modius has to say. Now I'm scared to say fuck you to a chick on Messenger because I may approve of rape. Am I right? No, say it. Fuck it. What's your relationship to that person? I want to fuck you. I said, who gives a fuck? Have fun. I send all sorts of messages. And in the past, even more. Like, now I'll maybe respond if I'm bored. Life's too short. Like, is it innocent? Reply. Is it, are you single? You want trying to fuck this girl? I say, I want to fuck you. See how she reacts. I'm kidding, of course. It's not don't say, you're exaggerating. I know what you're trying to do. Now I'm scared to say fuck you to a chick on Messenger. It's fuck it. Does she deserve fuck? Say it. Fuck you. Fuck you, you're wrong. Or maybe leave her. If she's that fucking stupid, like, why are you wasting your time on her? Fuck her. Either take the time to kind of like educate or try to like, woman, you realize like, fuck you. You realize how offensive you are right now or whatever the hell she's doing to you, right? Or if you start to see her conceptualize and this is racist, this is like generalizing, throwing #MeToos at you, then be like, all right, you're of a limited intellect. That was not my intention and the way you're trying to portray me. I'm out, baby doll. Smile more. Don't be so upset. What? can't make jokes now, dude. We can't make jokes. My girlfriend says no, laughingly. Vlad says, because I see Tekashi69 saying the N word and he's Mexican. Who gives a fuck what that kid has to say? What a fucking loser. Like, I know he's successful and all that shit, but that's just because he has. I heard he's pretty talented. I don't listen to his music. I mean, I opened a few songs, came on whatever, Spotify, random, whatever. Wasn't impressed. Not my jam. I don't have to like it. But him, separating him from his art, who is of the level of quality you decide is, who gives a fuck? Fuck him. He's a little kid who can't, I heard he snitched or whatever the fuck he did. Who gives a fuck? I think I saw some of his lives or whatever the fuck on Philip DeFranco talking about what the fuck he was saying, but I think the kid is like either delusional, definitely too much coke in his proximity, but also like so fucking raw and inarticulate and like the most basic macho bravado bullshit. It just bores me. I get it. He's flash for the kids. I don't have to like it. And if he says the N word, how about let people decide if they like that or not? You're white, aren't you, Marius? Oh, no, Vlad. Listen, I get it, guys. Fucking women are frustrating. I get it. I so get it. You don't understand. But they're not the beginning and the end of the world. There's five purpose. Fuck them. Or don't fuck them. I don't know how to say it. All right, let's see some print screens. And then I'll get the fuck out of here because I still have something got fucked up on one of my renders and I got to fix it. Shit for this show. Let's see what I saw. Okay, let me... Boom. I saw this. Residents in Toraja, Indonesia, take their deceased loved ones out of the graves once a year to celebrate their lives. And talking about tradition and all this shit from earlier, right? It's cray-cray, dog. But it's normal to them, obviously. They're not only like... We have something similar in Romania, too. Every 7 years in the Christian Orthodox religion, you dishume the person. So you bury him out and you do one sort of reading, check if his bones is there and they're not fucking under your bed. And then you put him back to dirt or whatever you put him. So that might seem savage, so normal to like a lot of Romanians. Might seem savage to another person, a French person or whatever. This is fucking like savage. Like, I know it's their tradition, but it's like they dress them up. Like, look at this poor person. It's like they put cigarettes and clothes. This family, this is crazy. This family has this. So it has a baby, a dead baby in the center right there, right? That baby's dead. And the two dead, I'm guessing parents or whatever in the center. And obviously it's a recent thing because they're all having COVID masks and shit. Or maybe they just have masks because they have human remains in their proximity, which would make sense too. But look at them. They're smiling. It's like it's all pop. He used to raise me. Well, print a picture, motherfucker. I don't know what to tell you. This is savage. Tradition. What about this dude? Hold on. Can you guys see this? Fucking fuck. What about this dude in the corner? So this is come on. It's a baby who's decomposed. And there's another dude on the right with his dead wife, but I can't fucking make this iPhone. It's difficult. Yeah, crazy. Tradition. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not so... If it soothes people's soul and whatever the fuck. If it were after me, I would fucking get burned. Fuck graves. I hope I die after my mom. Hope I don't make surprises that I make. If I die after my mom, don't tell her. But I think I want to be cremated. Fuck it. Throw me in the sea, in the Black Sea. That's where I grew up. That's where I got my first blowjob. On the shores of the Black Sea. Just spread me across the sand so I get stuck in someone's ass when they're at the beach. All right. Gone with the Wind. Yeah, this was the removed from HBO Max. Oh shit, I wanted to recommend Adrian Avram. Guys, follow him on Instagram. This dude, he makes like nude fucking things, but it's all made by him and hand drawn. Very sensual, sexy, but also human things. He doesn't have that many followers. His name is Adrian Avram. Follow him on Instagram. Tell him I said hi because I like a lot of what he does. He seems skilled and passionate about it whenever he has time. Speaking of which, my client launched that commercial I was bragging to you guys about, and I want to show it to you. You guys want to see it? I worked a lot on this one. Quite proud of it, and I'm going to start sharing my client work with you guys. This was launched on Friday, I think. I wanted to show it to you earlier, but the client had his release date. I didn't want to take away his reach. Some of you might have seen it online, but I'm going to show it to you here again. And for those of you interested, I wanted to start talking in Romanian about the process and what each shot takes to make, and whatever VFX I have hidden that you don't even know they're used there, but whatever the fuck. But today I wanted to show and share just the final product with you guys. It's a custom bespoke made suit company, Romanian company called Consiglieri. You might know of it. They're very cool people and they do great work as far as I am concerned. The main actor, who is not an actor, he's more of a public figure. His name is Dave Stoltz. He's one of my clients too. I've been working with him for a long time. He's a men's coach and an athlete and a businessman. And I tried to put him in the mood. I tried to capture the experience of him going to Consiglieri with all their tailors and giving him this whole experience of having a custom-made suit and what it means to him as a man. Also in the clip, you'll see Ana Maria, who was here on the podcast in English a couple of podcasts ago with the feminist podcast. I think I forgot the name. She's also playing. She's his lovely girl and also like a very smart lady. With that being said, enjoy this commercial. It takes about 2 minutes. And you guys, if you want, you can ask me a question afterwards. Let me just pump up the volume, pause, full screen, and enjoy.
What is a suit? Ever since I put on my first tailored suit, I always asked myself, does the suit make the man, or does the man make the suit? I'm Dave Stoltz. I'm an investor, men's coach, and athlete. I'm very much a risk taker in business as well as life. You can buy a suit off the rack and they fit pretty well, and you could take it to a tailor, maybe have it dialed in a little bit. But when you really get into a tailored suit, that's when people really recognize your appreciation for the finer things in life, the attention to detail, and all the important things that express who you are. As an American working with tailors in Los Angeles and New York City, I've got to experience some of the best in the world. And I came here to Bucharest and met the owners of Consigliere, and I was really impressed with the level of professionalism, the craftsmanship of their suits. It's been a wonderful experience all the way through, from all the measurements, the picking out of the materials, the buttons, the stitching, and it rivals anything that I have been a part of in Los Angeles or in New York City. As a men's coach, I always encourage my clients to go and get a bespoke made suit. It's a rite of passage to manhood. A well-rounded man, and a man that's aware of himself, realizes the suit is just an extension of who he is and who he's becoming as he grows and matures in life.
I fucked up the ending. Hold on. I can't. I fucked up the ending. Boom, baby. So that was it. I muted the fucking channel before the song ended, and I worked so hard on fucking on like matching every beat to every detail. Anyway, that was it. I hope you liked it. I'll be sharing more of my work and the way I do it in Romanian, because there's enough English professionals sharing how to do their work in English. I believe my country needs somebody who, there's a lot of people who do good work in my country, but they also need to, they need a channel for people, for them to at least have an idea of how these things are made. It's directed by me, obviously. Shot by Paul Dovan, an excellent, he held the gimbal and tried to follow my directions and whatever the focus. This was shot last autumn, so in September, October, I had a caster on my hand. So the most I could do on this shoot to help my buddy, except direct, was make the wind with like this sheet. Like kind of like make the cool wind at the end. Yeah, wanted to show you guys that. I hope you liked it. Let's move the hell on. If you have questions about it or whatever the fuck, I'm happy to answer them for you. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, the new PlayStation 5. Dude, I'm all hyped for it and everything, but it's ugly, dog. It's so ugly. I don't know why people like it so much. It looks so retro futuristic, kind of like hold on, I have a question. The question is from the Pope. What's up, man? What gear did you use for this commercial, and why choose 60 frames per second? First of all, I shot it in 25 frames per second. It's not 60. I don't know where you saw 60. Is it 60 when you do the thingy? Let's see. No. It's 25 frames per second. Maybe it looks 60 because it goes. My computer screen goes through this ATEM camera switcher, but it might be 60 because. But no, even this clip should be 30 frames per second. I don't know why the fuck it's. It's 25. What gear I used? I used the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 4K with a cage on DJI Ronin S stabilizer gimbal. Paul handled that. I also used a Blackmagic Ursa Mini camera, which is my other professional camera. It was shot in ProRes, not in ProRes. The one shoots in ProRes RAW, the old one. The Ursa Mini shoots in ProRes RAW 444. The other one, I used Blackmagic RAW codec, which is amazing. And also a lot of VFX in this that you don't see. As a lens, I used the Sigma 18 to 35 millimeters, 1.8, I think, which is amazing. and also because of the Blackmagic 4K is it's a micro four thirds camera. I have a speed booster that allows me to go to EF and also gives me an extra stop of light from Metabones. And the second lens was the Sigma 50 millimeter prime, which goes down to 1.4, I believe. Amazing lenses, very sharp. The work was every shoot has its problems, but it was pretty good, and it was lovely to work with these people. They understood what I wanted to transmit, because obviously I started from the idea of, does the suit make the man or does the man make the suit, right? And which is a Romanian saying, you know what I mean? Like the book and the cover thing. And I wanted the conclusion to be, the suit is an extension of the man. And when he comes of an age where he will get a custom-made suit, that means he succeeded enough to get that. It's like earning your stripes in a way. Of course, anybody can buy it if they have enough money. But the point is, if you're a more complete man, you know why that like completes you. So I want to transmit this. It was very easy to work with Dave and Anna, and also Christy, the manager, the general manager from Consiglieri. He was a sweetie, especially that it was in that period where my studio burned, and he was very understanding in delaying this until I had the equipment back to edit it. But it was lovely. I will show you some more past work and future work from now on if you guys are interested. What's up, Maxim? It's a shit world, man. There are no magic. There is no magic. We are no robots, man. We are free. Okay. Whatever that means. Free. I come when I come. All right. Also, as a light, I had the Aperture 120D with a softbox, and a lot of little other equipment. If you guys are interested, we'll talk more on the Romanian podcast, where I can also show you behind the scenes and shit. But that won't be tomorrow, because tomorrow I have a very special guest. Finally in my podcast. It's my lovely girlfriend. She wants to show her money maker. She wants to show her face. And discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure you'll see this a lot. But not too often, I hope. Or else I'll take offense. All right, what else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, yeah, I just wanted to make a point that you guys should see the Joe Rogan, Bill Burr podcast from a couple of days ago. It was the shit. It was very, very funny, and Bill Burr has a way even to like tone down Joe Rogan. I love that he called him out. If you guys see this podcast, he called out Joe Rogan for calling anybody, whoever like still wears a mask, like a pussy. Because I feel Joe Rogan took this COVID thing very seriously. Jesus, fuck you, fucking animal. Joe Rogan took this seriously, as every other person did, but at the beginning. But then he kind of felt betrayed, as the misinformation, even from the officials, were blurry and in all directions and all this shit. So now he started calling people who wear masks pussies, and Bill Burr called him up on that. Like, really? Like, you weren't like wearing one in the beginning? Yes, I was. And there's people who are still scared and hasn't reached your point right now. So they are in that point. So he just, but in his Bill Burr way, right? Like, I love it. You guys should see it. I don't want to ruin any fucking jokes, because it's a laugh. So take 3 hours and watch it. Just spread it across days while you're fucking working or whatever, pretending to work. I saw this article. I thought it was hilarious. It says how to guide your child in finding healthy pornography. It's simple, yet don't. It's hard. Let's take it one step at a time. How about we start with actually talking to our kids about sex. Like 95% of the population pretend like, they'll figure it out. And then when we reach this bridge, how to guide your kid in finding the healthy pornography, never do anything about it. Because if you raise them right enough, it'll be healthy enough. You know what's healthy pornography? Healthy pornography was it done with everybody's consensus? Yes. And they were all at the right age? Yes. And were they all mentally prepared to give consent? Like, were they drugged? Were they drunk? No? Cool. Then it's healthy. It's whatever that fucking person, like, whatever spins their balls, right? If it's legal and it's a consent, who gives a fuck? Knock yourself out, person. Like, you guys fucking realize if there was no porn, we'll still have, like, major wars. Guys are crazy. Censoring everybody being able to express themselves. You just build up frustrations and you just teach people how to pretend better. That's all. We're all human, and I think it starts with admitting what the fuck we're made of, even to these dirty levels that I'm not popular about talking, right? And then it's like, okay, this is what we are, cool. Now let's do our best to, like, make this work, not pretend that we're perfect and we're crumbling under the surface. Come on. And this is where this childish delete history, say exactly what the fuck. There's 15 pronouns. You have to, no matter what you say, you offend somebody. Can't win with all this political correctness to this extreme. How to guide? How would we guide our child to find the right pornography, baby? I guess my guide would be he'll just open my computer and start clicking things. Then he'll get a guide. a guide of a crash course, like an instant. I don't know how the fuck I would guide my kid. Listen, kid, what you want to do to the ladies? You want to just like... It depends. Like, how the fuck would you even guide? Because at the beginning, you want some things. In the end, you realize those things are, like, you overestimated. Like, it's like at the beginning, you fucking come first. You're like, oh my God, I got to convince a girl to kind of touch this. Then you're like, what? They enjoy it too? What? Even more than I do a lot of the times? What the fuck? Then that's not such a big deal anymore. So you progress towards what can she do for me for myself to feel validated, right? Then you start from that. Is this enough? Oh, yes, now she's mine. What, she cheated? Fuck, now they're all whores. Then you build from that. No, they're not all whores, because if you go with that mentality, then you're fucking stupid and your love life will be full of hate because you can't move on from the past. So you learn to adapt, and then you like other things. Kind of build a way when it comes to porn as you develop different things, but it's always a reflection of who you are at that time, and not a thing where you can just put a staple. Well, you could put staple on major things, you know what I mean? Like, it's swallowing for me. Like, I'm sorry, it's just like I do a good job. I do my effort for you to come. Like I told you guys, like that girl I slept with, she's an influencer too. She's like, and I did my job, and obviously we didn't have so much chemistry like together. So I never try to force things. I'd rather not sleep with you to begin with and to not have something. But yeah, I was horny, so let's skip some steps. So we did end up in bed, and of course I gave it my best effort. But then when it was my time to come, whatever, she pretended, she didn't pretend. She seemed like she enjoyed it, right? It was my time to come. She's like, you can do it anywhere. Looked into my eyes so assuredly. I'm like, I didn't even hesitate. I'm going to fill your fucking little mouth. Hey, what's between me? I don't judge the girl. She's lovely. You'll never know who she is, but, she's like a lovely human being. But at that moment, when it comes to our demons, where we interconnected, right? She's like, anything. I didn't even have to say that. I'm going to fill your little mouth up. I saw her tripping. You know what I mean? And you can always tell with the girl, because... If she can't handle the cum, we'll talk about this when it comes to, like, I have a whole bit about cum. But when it comes to cum, if she doesn't, like, you wanted her to hold a hold of it and not just choke on it or whatever the fuck. If after the first spurt she doesn't retract her tongue and kind of uses it to block her airwaves and not, if you go for the second one and she hasn't done that, then the third one is a choke. Come on, fellas. Why can't we talk about things? Why are we monsters if we talk about things? Have my back when this shit will be brought up out of context fucking 15 years from now, please. But yeah, we all have our little things. It doesn't matter if it's agreed upon and that person is, you know what I mean? Then it's cool. Fucking guide your kids. It's healthy pornography. Go fuck yourself. That's how. I don't know who this girl is. Președinta Asociației Mame pentru Oameni. I'm sure she is well intended. It's just stupid. Speaking of stupid, guys, take this up for change. So there's this lion attacking a buffalo in Africa, right? And whatever, South Africa, Johannesburg. No. And this dude says, I don't like seeing stuff like this. These animals were taught to hunt for meat. There's enough resources for everyone to eat like them. To eat like vegans. Just like humans, if we teach them to practice eating from earth, then they wouldn't have a taste for meat. This person is mentally retarded. Like he might have issues. This dude, because he seems like a dude. And the print screen of it says, somewhere out there is a person so dumb that their own parents are embarrassed by their existence. Definitely, dude. How can you say, like, we barely, like, of course we can figure out human nutrition. I've ever been to a vet, everything's so general. I'm sure they have their little knowledge of, like, biochemistry of whatever your fucking cat has or whatever, right? But it doesn't seem as of a broad interest as it does in humans. And even now we barely figure out, should you eat protein based? Should you be, carbs, no carbs? Nobody knows what the fuck. I'm just follow whatever Joe Rogan does. No, I'm kidding. I still eat like a piece of shit. You expect these the type of humans that you see those fucking skinny dogs and you're like, no, he's just naturally. No, are you feeding him vegan fucking shit? He needs fucking protein. He needs meat or meat products, meat byproducts, bone, whatever the fuck. Can't just keep it on soy, man. He's a fucking mini tiger, your cat. Your dog is wolf light. He needs meat or some sort of animal. Fuck. And the best picture he chooses to post with this is like a lion. It can't even be like a cat, like a lion who's free. What is he going to go to the 7-Eleven, you dumb fuck? Yeah, can I have some tofu? And also your throat? Like, what the fuck? He's a lion. Let's teach animals. People are delusional, man. This is the type of person that, like, advocates, like, we can all be equal. Why can't we just teach men not to, like, to be... Because, like, this person has zero fucking, polarity. Like, he sketched everything up in squares and doesn't realize it just doesn't work that way. People who outright, like, deny hierarchies, even if they're natural, like humans have, like lions have, like apes have, even ants, right? These deniers, like, no, if we just try our best, we can have these ants all sit in a circle and give them one bread per month. They'll be so happy, they'll be singing Kumbaya, Lord Kumbaya for the rest of their little lives. No! Idiot. No, it doesn't work that way. I can't, people. I can't. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. Did you guys write any comments? Did I close my fucking thing? I'm so stupid. Hold on. Alexandra Plesha says, kudos for the video. Cosman, how long did it take from the initial script pages to the final product? I'm also curious about the rough production stages and would appreciate some insight into that. Oh man, we're gonna bore these people, girl. We're really gonna bore these people. I'm gonna address this real quick. This being sort of an interview, although it seems obviously one from one take or whatever the fuck. Me and Dave, I also invite. I wanted to see his perspective. This coach that's talking about these suits, right? I invited him to my personal studio, not in the Consigliere headquarters, and I had like a mini podcast on this mic and another mic with him, assessing his opinion of how he sees the world. I wanted to show him my perspective of how I see like a suit, like or that type of lifestyle, whatever the fuck when you achieve it. I wanted to see his take on it, and once I found that, then I was ready to set up the shooting days. So if you take that into account, it was 3 days. So that's one day where I kind of like assessed and I built my script that night, kind of where to lead him along, but also let him be his authentic self, right? Not put. So this is like a script word by word based. I'll have one. I have two big projects right now. One is for a social media app that could have the potential to be very, very big, and I'll be the one producing, hopefully, the videos. I have the pitch on Friday. Wish me luck. But yeah, so it was that. Then I planned the days. Then there was 2 days of shooting. We split the days just because I didn't want anything to feel forced. So rather than having just 2 days, I talked with Dave. I talked with it, which is the man in the video. I talked with Cristi, which is the general manager of Consigliere Romania, and he told me. I said, Cristi, how much does an average suit take to make? And he said about 2-3 weeks. I'm like, cool. We'll make the second shooting day 2-3 weeks, so we don't have to pretend at any point that he comes and he has the suit on a rack and then he has to change and pretend it's a different day. No. I want him to actually be amazed, catch his reaction, the way you're instructing him, and all these little details you guys pay attention to. I want that to come natural. I told this to them. It was awesome. They were very receptive. That's what I was talking about, choosing your clients. I'm glad I'm closing in on the point where I can do that. So we shot the first day was him arriving with Ana Maria. The first shot was a drone shot that I searched for a day, I think, on the internet to match the car he arrived in, right? Just so because we didn't have the budget to go out on the skirts of Bucharest or somewhere where it was that beautiful and film that. So I had to search for the model, and only this one clip fucking popped up, and I licensed it for 60 euros. And then, no, I actually saved it because I knew I was going to license it when it was time to edit, which sometimes is way in the future. So by the time I got to editing, it was pulled out, and then I emailed the person to license to me. It was crazy. Anyway, so then we convened on the second day where we filmed the way he received the new suit, the kissing scenes, and then we went to Magheru where the ending shots and the climax of the video happens. And what was that? Ateneu, baby? Where they at? Yeah, Ateneu. I managed to catch a few shots before the people jump me that I have no authorization. Go fuck yourself. Public space. After that, I gather all the material, all the labs, all the camera angles, all the shots, and I stopped for about 6 months because my studio burned down. Then COVID happened. Actually, we went to the winter, and it's partly like I only had, when my workstation burned the second time, I only had this laptop, and this did not have the power to handle Blackmagic RAW or RAW video, especially at 4K or 4.6K. But they were very understanding since the COVID. I was like, dude, it was filmed in late summer, early. It has a springy, summery vibe. I say we save it, and he agreed. He was a sweetheart. They all are from Consigliere. I was really impressed myself. But yeah, then when I started to work on it, on and off, also doing other projects, it took about 2 weeks from matching the cameras, then basic colorization, so I get a feel of how it does, how I want it to look. Then I kind of found the music, which I wanted to be beautiful and be dynamic, but also classic. You know what I mean? Where it culminates. And then I tried to cut up what he said, because he said these things in different points of script. So you got to make like a story and listen really real good to the sound. I also edited the song. It's not the original one. It was a drums version, and there was a no drums version. So I left the no drums version up to the beginning, to the end, and then the drums versions kick in, except key points where the dude opens the material things, and then and the logo conciliar appears, and there's like I switch to the drums version when there's like a tutum, like kind of thing. So you start chopping away at it. You start sculpting it on all sides. So you kind of like switch frames and trying to visualize how can you say the story and match it to the beat in a way that also improves the story, right? So that took about 2 weeks on and off. I would say if I had to like really just ignore my girlfriend and stay 14 hours a day, I'd probably do it in one, but then I'll be a complete mess at the end. So trying to also protect myself a little bit nowadays. Yeah, it took about 4 days overall. But like I said, the budget was quite limited. It wasn't, I would have dreamed to have this sort of budget 5 years ago. But it wasn't that big compared to what I delivered. I know that, but it's okay. I like the people. I wanted to make this, and they were gracious enough to let me direct, to let me do my vision on it. And I never showed them nothing. Is it okay? It's good. Nothing, not the song, not the nothing. Can you give us a sample? Nope. Just a little. Is the rough cut done? Yep. Just a little peek? Nope. You know that song? Yep. Nope. That's how I was. Like, you ain't seeing shit. And just at the end, where I wanted to, the colorization's done. They saw this thing for the first time with the music and everything, and obviously it looks like a movie. That's what my point, to be cinematic. Besides telling a story, then it was impactful for them, and they were happy for the wait. I rather work like that. I'm sorry, you let me do my crazy thing, and I will not disappoint. Haven't got any complaint till now, so we're good. That's one way of doing things. And we might grow slower, but then you have this huge body of work. Then people who can discover you afterwards, they're like, "Oh shit, this guy means business," and I like that. Anyway, we can talk about it really, Alexandra. We can talk about it tomorrow in the Romanian podcast. Or not tomorrow, next week in the Romanian podcast, where I'll actually have behind the scenes and I'll show you more. The final scene with the close-up is kind of awkward. Everybody's a critic. It's good. Listen to it again. If not, this is Romania. May I remind you, the commercials up there. I think it emphasized the close-up shot. Like, I wanted to give it. You mean the zoom-in shot, right? The dolly shot where they have this hero shot. I wanted to give it like a House of Cards vibe, where they're the alpha male and female type of thing, but they're also like this couple who are in love. And also the guy gets the girl, right? Because he has a suit that he's earned. It's a whole thing there. I think it says my story. I'm happy with it, really. Luca says, really great production, outstandingly beautiful. I hope you exponentially go and expand your business and territory. Sincere kudos. I love you, buddy. I know you're like old school with me. So right here. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's, I think we're already, what, you hungry, baby? I think we'll stay about like half an hour more. I can blank the screen if you need to pee, and you can pass, and then you can come back. You're hungry. Well, I could fix that too, but no, never mind. Hey, I love you, baby. Just have a little more patience. We have 10 people on. Hold on. If we have less than people, let me refresh this bitch. Oh, bad news, baby. 17 people. 18. Shit. All right. I'm gonna show them the rest of the pictures, and then we can. When you're on the verge of popping, tell me, and I'll block the screen. Okay. No, I wanted to show you this. Okay. I like this, not just the article title because I didn't open it, but it says Elon Musk says college is basically for fun, but not for learning, and that a degree isn't evidence of exceptional capabilities. And I don't know, man. I have 2 masters in finance, UK and everything. You know what I mean? Then I do this, and I'm pretty good at it. And I started from scratch with YouTube tutorials and talking to people that are in the field and just having an interest in it. Now, could I have done this easier with like directing school or whatever the fuck? Maybe, but I think it also gave me like another perspective, the business side. So I'm not sure. I tend to agree a little bit. If you know very well, but you can't, that's the problem. And those college years give you a little bit more wiggle room to kind of figure out what the fuck you want to do. But if you just insist on the concept of it, nowadays it's more like of a requirement. Like people like, oh, you don't have it, then you don't have that piece of paper, then. But strictly as an educational level, I'm not sure. I don't know. I tend to agree with Elon here. But that's not why I made this print screen. Why I made this print screen is because of Roxana, this girl, Roxana Trif or whatever. She says, look at how many colleges he attended first. You know what I mean? And I kind of like, I found that funny. It was both, it both made me laugh and also it made me angry for a little bit. Because, yeah. But that's like a moot point. It's bullshit. You know why? Because if he wouldn't have gone to 2 colleges, Elon Musk, right? Then they would have been like, what the fuck do you know? You know, you just happen to make it without, but there's not enough people like you. And then they give you an opportunity. You don't really understand. He has 2. Let's see. How many? What is he? Let's see. Elon Musk College. Where did he went to university? Where did... This is too complicated. Hold on. Where did Elon Musk go to college? There you go. Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, so that's Canada, and University of Pennsylvania and Wharton School. So he has like 2 or 3. He started a PhD and he dropped out. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just like, if he has 3 of them, you think he nobody inside? Like, it's kind of a bit rigged. But of course, this girl like, look at how many he did. Yeah, if he wouldn't have done none of them, then you'd be like, what the fuck does he know, right? You can't win with these people. All right, next one. I guess this is it. Joy to the girlfriend. The slides are over. Joy, food will come. I'm not cutting any guacs. I rather cut the vegetables. Vegetables. Ooh, that's a hard offer. I can't tell it to them though, because they might think you're trying to keep me from, you know what I mean? But I have it here. I'm considering it. All right, people, that was it for tonight. My girlfriend made me an offer that I can't refuse. I don't want to refuse it. What it is, we won't talk about. Thank you for joining me tonight. Join me tomorrow night on the Romanian channel Romeo Cialis. We can talk more then, and you can get to meet Ioana, my girl. Help out on Patreon if you can. If not, share whatever the fuck, all this shit that you won't do. And also follow me on Instagram and follow Paul Dovan, the camera guy for the shoot, the very talented legend in becoming. Hold the phone. I love you, buddy. I know you're not watching this. Go fuck yourself. Until tomorrow night, thank you for tuning in. Have a good evening.